Hi everybody, Tim here with tonight's episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Season 2, Episode 11, Rivals. So this was a pretty fun episode, and it was a good episode until I started doing a little bit of research, and then I kind of got disappointed in this. So evidently, this episode was supposed to have Whoopi Goldberg kind of do the crossover from Star Trek The Next Generation as her character Guinan. But at this point, this was like, what, 1994? So she was doing a lot of movies at the time, and unfortunately she wasn't available to be in this episode. She wasn't in, I think, any of Season 7 of The Next Generation either. We saw her in a little bit of Season 6, and then we didn't see her again until Generations. So she was supposed to be in this, and it was supposed to be about her son, which during the series she said she has a lot of children. And so it's kind of interesting. I kind of wish they would have gotten her in there, but it didn't happen, so oh well. So the episode starts, and it's interesting just how it starts. We see the character Martis Mazur, I think is how you say his name, I don't even know. And Odo right away says that he's an El-Aurian, and the El-Aurians are listeners. That's what their species is known for. Now, we never heard Guinan's race mentioned in The Next Generation. It wasn't until the movie came out. So I don't know if any of you guys remember during this time if people knew what species Guinan was, or is this this was the first mention of that race name. So I don't know if people knew, besides the writers, that they had already planned that to be Guinan's race, if that makes sense. Because they allude to her being listeners all the time, and then even in Generations, Soren says, our race is a bunch of listeners. And so it seems like it was already planned out, it just wasn't made very clear. So Martis is played by the amazing Chris Sarandon. Most of you probably know him from, he plays the speaking voice of Jack Skellington from The Night Before Christmas, or he was the main vampire in Fright Night. So he's a great actor, and it's kind of interesting to see him in this, because at this point, Fright Night had already come out, and I think The Nightmare Before Christmas had even come out. Like I said, this came out in 94, and The Nightmare Before Christmas came out in 93. So he's already a pretty well-known actor at this point. And to me, even if Guinan had been in this episode, I still would have wanted Chris Sarandon to be in the role. So I think that's pretty cool. So Chris Sarandon, basically, he's kind of a con artist, and he is down on his luck. He ends up getting thrown into jail, where he meets another assuming criminal, and this guy has this magic toy or whatever, and it's kind of a gambling toy. It's just based on luck. And he keeps losing and losing and losing, and finally he wins, and when he wins, he's so surprised that he dies. And so Martis takes the toy, and it ends up giving him luck. And so this whole episode is just about, the laws of physics are kind of changed, so it seems, and some people are getting lucky, and some people are not. Quark ends up kind of going down on his luck, whereas Martis just starts winning everything. And he starts getting all this money, and he makes a rival bar next to Quark's, hence the title. And overall, it's an interesting episode. It's really funny. There's kind of a subplot that ends up coming back where we see Chief O'Brien, and to be completely honest, he's not a young whippersnapper. He's kind of getting up there a little age. Whereas Dr. Bajir, who is fairly young and in shape, they have this whole contest of racquetball, and Dr. Bajir just feels bad because he's kicking O'Brien's ass, and he doesn't mean to. And by the time we get to the end of the episode, it's kind of a great scene where Bajir is now unlucky and O'Brien has gotten luck. And he just tosses the racquetball and just holds his hand, and it hits every bullseye and this goes straight to his hand. So it's kind of an interesting thing. Of course, they end up finding out why, and it just ends up being the toy. They destroy the toy and everything goes back to normal. So the ending's a little meh, but the overall episode, what's so good about this episode is probably the acting. Just to see Quark in his prime, to see Chris Sarandon guest star, and then of course Bajir and O'Brien are just great rivals. And it's kind of funny to watch some of these early episodes to see how much O'Brien hates Bajir, and then when we get to the end of the episode or the end of the series, how they're best friends. So overall, this is a great episode. I really, really enjoyed this one. So for those who have seen this one, would you guys have wanted to see Guinan, or do you think that would have been too distracting? Would you have still wanted Chris Sarandon if Guinan was in it? What did you think about Chris Sarandon in general? And for those that didn't know who Chris Sarandon is, are you surprised to learn, hey, that's that's the vampire and that's Jack Skellington? Or did you already know it and you think that's just awesome? I kind of wish we'd see his character again. Would you want to see his character again? Go ahead, let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys for everything. I appreciate all your comments, all of the YouTube subscribers. You guys are all amazing. I will see you guys next time for the alternate.